Asymmetrical posture is a common problem that can significantly impact movement quality and result in mobility restrictions. And while the field of postural correction is growing to include novel approaches, the majority of people fail to get the results that they want. Now, over the last 6 years of helping people with postural training to improve mobility and performance, I've noticed a few major reasons why these exercises fail to deliver results. So in this video, we're going to break down what those are, what you can do about it, and at the end, I'll be extending an invitation to you to attend my free live training where I'll be breaking down my approach in detail. But first, let's dive into why postural correction exercises can go wrong. The first and most obvious reason why posture correction exercises don't work is that you don't have the right exercises. Now, a lot of older theories on how muscles become weak and tight are just plain wrong. Vladimir Janda's upper and lower cross syndromes are probably the most common cited patterns, but the recommendations that go along with these is something like stretch the pecs and strengthen the back, stretch the hip flexors and strengthen the glutes and abs. And now there's plenty of videos on this channel as to why that's not exactly the approach that you want to take, but the biggest reasons for this is that these old school exercises don't address the root causes, which are center of gravity, rib cage and pelvis position, and coordination of the core muscles with breathing. Take for example the case of rounded shoulders that we often see in someone with a tipped back rib cage. A lot of times the rib cage is extended back like this, and the shoulders just follow the contour of the upper back and round into this rounded shoulder position. Now, instead of doing strengthening exercises for the back and stretching exercises for the pecs, if we simply relax this rib cage back into a more neutral position, relax the tummy, and take a nice easy breath in to expand the front of the chest, then we change the shape of the rib cage, and then the shoulders are able to just naturally fall into a more neutral position without any stretching or strengthening. So if you're just spinning your wheels with the usual exercises, they might not be the right ones for you. Now, the second and hopefully equally obvious reason is that you're not doing the exercises correctly, right? There's no way around it. If we assume you have the right exercises for your body, but you're poorly executing them, there's no way that you're going to get the intended effect. For example, let's say we have a sway back posture that looks like this, and we have tight lower glutes. We know that a hinging activity can be good to open up this area, but if we're doing this with a really rounded position in the low back, then we're not actually going to open up those glutes, and we're not going to get the intended effect out of the exercise. All right, so enough on that. Moving on to number 3. The third reason is a little less obvious, but it's that postural exercises are often not progressive. I mentioned earlier that with the right positioning and coordination of breathing, you don't need to do the traditional strengthening and stretching exercises. And while this is true, you do need to strengthen yourself within these new positions. The easiest and best way to do this is through traditional resistance training with the desired posture emphasized. For example, if you tend to have a flared rib cage like this, you'd want to first get into a more neutral ribs down position and then use that in squats, deadlifts, and pressing motions. This will allow you to integrate this posture into situations where you need to produce force. This prevents you from falling back into old patterns when life stressors or physical challenges pop up. Now, the fourth reason is that current models, although more accurately describing postural asymmetries, are often too complicated and at the same time overly generalized. These combination of factors increases the chances that you might make mistakes 1, 2, or 3. Think of these complex models kind of like horoscopes. They have enough of a description of sensations and patterns that apply to almost everyone, so it increases the chance of you going, oh yeah, that's me. For example, someone might talk about having a posterior tilt and tight hamstrings and glutes in a sway back. You might go to touch your toes and then feel that tight sensation in the hamstrings and assume that the reason you have this is because of this posterior tilt, when in reality it might be that the pelvis is in an anterior tilt and you're stretching those hamstrings early on in the motion. This is an example of muscles feeling tight but not actually being in the pattern that is being described. This may cause you to incorrectly stretch a muscle that's actually only tight as a symptom of its positioning. Now, another major reason that complexity muddies the waters is that exercises can have so many steps that they're hard to do correctly. This just increases stress rather than alleviates it, and since stress is one of the leading factors contributing to poor posture, we don't want to get in our own way by wasting time with overly complex activities. Now, last but certainly not least is that posture correction professionals often give the impression that certain postures or positions are good and others are bad. In reality, there's no one best posture, but instead, a healthy movement system is one where you can achieve all postures and positions without limitation. Now, in many cases, people will overcorrect their posture or try to maintain a neutral posture in an obsessive way, and this can actually limit your mobility in the exact opposite direction from which you were limited in the first place, or just limit mobility overall. For example, let's say I start out with a rib flare in an inhaled position of the ribs, and then I pull those ribs down over and over and over again and avoid expanding the ribs. Then if I go to do activities that require that type of expansion, I won't be able to access it. Now over time, this usually causes people to feel worse or afraid to move. Then they either have to course correct or they just get so overwhelmed by confusion that they forget about the whole thing. Instead, we want to treat posture correction like a game of Pokemon. We want to collect them all first, then progress these positions one by one so that we can get the best of all worlds. All right, so what do we do about it? We've just laid out the 5 reasons that most people struggle to see results with posture exercises. So all we have to do to get results is to reverse engineer them. We have to choose the right exercises, do them correctly, progress them, simplify the overall model to facilitate items 1 through 3, and then change our mindset around good versus bad posture and how this will affect mobility. Now, if this sounds like something you're interested in, I have a special offer for you. Next Wednesday, I'll be hosting a free live Zoom event where I'll be breaking down my approach to simplifying posture for improved mobility. In this presentation, I'll be breaking down my 3-step posture process and my pressure performance framework that you can use to get back to the activities you love pain-free. All you have to do to reserve your seat is click the link in the description below and follow the prompts to register. I really hope to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and that's it for today's video. So until next time, peace.